Welcome back to the session. In this module, we are going to continue to build the use case that we have taken. The primary goal of this demonstration, an end-to-end use case demonstration, is to prove that from the concept till the deployment, everything can be done a assisted way without having to go into the code level. Just because A writes the code, generates code for you, it doesn't mean that it is bulletproof. So should we have to go through the code? One statement is that A generated code is not bulletproof. Does it mean that as a developer I have to focus on to reading the code each and every line? This also cannot be simply trusted. This is laborious. A generated 1200 lines of code. It takes time to review each and every line. I suggest to be like this. For mission critical features, A generated code has to be manually reviewed and approved. For non-mission critical, okay, you should follow a different path. You can accept. For example, I'm introducing a new interface out of an existing class which didn't have the interface. That is not mission critical. You can just accept it. But you should not take it to the production directly. Then you have to write or you have to generate AI assisted test cases, test suite to such a way that you have the test coverage to at most 95% above. So that all the happy path, the failure path, edge cases are covered to prove that your code is working. A generated code cannot be trusted. A generated code cannot be reviewed manually with all the possible ways. Mission critical I can review. For other things and all, even for mission critical, non-mission critical, your test cases prove that your code is working according to your business expectation. That is the key lesson. If you have not proven the test cases, no, I accepted. I thought it will work directly. Anyway, A only written, no. It will backfire you. Your stakeholder is not going to scold A. Correct. The harsh mail doesn't go to the A actually. Sonnet only generated, no, let us scold the sonnet. Opus only generated, no, let us scold opus. No. Who drives those robots? Those are responsible. So, simple thought process, guys. Do not simply trust A generated code. It will do everything perfectly. Wrong. You believe that it is so correct. And A also believes that it is correct. So that is where human intervention required. At what level, at what sense. That is where your intelligence is very important. We have not gone to the level where A is generating bulletproof code, where you don't have to worry about anything any longer. We have not gone to the level. So having said that, we have now services ready. You should have your test cases to prove that all service endpoints are working. Same way, when you develop UI is working according to the expectation. So that's where we are going to be. Let's get into this. So yesterday after the identity services, I almost written 5,000 lines of code. to this patient services, doctor services, auditing services, and identity services. Audit, branch, doctor, identity management, patient, all have been implemented exactly as how identity service was built. Okay. When you're designing projects also, you should follow structure, not just like they're accepted. So today morning I was crafting. Follow this structure. You always give business friendly microservice name project folder. Nexus audit service. Under that we keep the docs, documentation related to this service. Implementation plan, contract plan, testing plan, whatever the documents you created, HLD, LLD. And then AI generated code, sometimes we may have to throw them out. I generally don't do the hard delete. Instead, I do the soft delete, moving them into archive folder. So later upon in time, I can reference it. SRC folder where the source code is going to be implemented, we'll have the CS proj file. Ideally, that particular microservice backend should have 3 important folders: configuration, reading, writing, or refreshing; infrastructure for the NFR, non-functional requirements such as logging, caching, and then the features should be having the real implementation of the business. Model, validator, repositories, services, controllers. These are the common things. And then you will have the test folder, VS test project or solution file. Then that particular folder should have some common and standard files like readme, git ignore, license, contributing, change log. These are very common. Each serves some purpose. Do we have an export image? I'll save this. End-to-end documentations. Reference a project structure. Okay. Right. Now all services are up and running. From the morning session, I interacted with the people. They conveyed a message saying that you primarily use Windows Server, IIS to host your services, and then you deployed recently started moving towards Azure. Okay. Then I was giving some recommendations also how to simplify, how to reduce the cost as well as improvise the productivity and manage your infrastructure better. So from all angles, I recommend to use Linux operating system to run your services, because anyway you are using .NET Core. If you are using legacy systems like a VB6 or ASP or ASP.NET Web Forms, yes, you have to still stick to IIS and ASP.NET and Windows Server. If you decided to move .NET Core wherever possible, those have to be targeted to Linux. How do we package them? We strongly recommend to package them in the form of containers. So one of the 12 factor, this is a this is a microservice specific checklist. When you develop a microservice, these are all the rules you must follow. 12 factor app. One such factor, what does it say is that, see this, your application should be running as a process, not hosted. Another one, there should not be any difference between the way you see the development and production. The parity won't be there. Keep development, staging, production as similar as possible. How do you get this? Only through containerization. So now what we are interested is that we have services: audit, branch, doctor, identity, patient. And there is an observability stack also. What is my observability stack? How do you monitor? Which service is consuming more resource? IO, CPU, memory, network, storage. We don't know. We always see that whether IIS is running or not. I strongly prefer you to make use of open source, community driven, and widely adopted tech stack for monitoring and observability. For example, Prometheus for metrics, and then Grafana for dashboards, Loki for logging, Tempo for traces. Likewise, we do have open source implementations. So now I have created a separate folder called observability, where all the configurations are made. Of course, you can also generate it. It is already generated. Now at the backend level, I do have Docker compose.yaml. I do have environment.example. So let me just move them to archives folder. So create a folder called archives. At the backend, I move this. Okay, environment.example also can be moved. Now the environment looks very neat. I have taken all the prompts, kept it in the docs folder, prompts 01, 02, 03, 04. All the prompts are available. So later you can reference them. Since I'm going to package them in the form of containers, so let me just remove all the containers that I was having in the morning session. I'll also remove all the images, volumes, builds, there should be a delete option here. It's okay. Now, right now, our environment is empty for packaging microservices, packaging or backend services. There we go. I'm going to be using Sonnet 4.6 because Opus model now it is almost nearing to the more usage. So better I will stick to the Sonnet model planning mode. What are you planning? Yesterday we saw how to build the identity service. Similarly, we built other services also. Now 5 services are up and running. These services require SQL Server. These services require the monitoring, observability, those elements. So I want to package everything together into a single deployable file in the container world. So at the backend folder, I wanted to build Docker Compose. Each service has Docker file, but that is going to build only the container for that service. Let us explain. Audit service, copy path, planning mode. Can you analyze the following folders? At a high level, can you analyze the following folders, especially Docker file of these microservices that I have built for the platform named Nexus HA. Okay, now it is going to analyze. These microservices depend on SQL Server for database access, and also look into the folder observability. Which has Prometheus, Grafana, Loki, Tempo, and OTLP collector specific configurations. Let me know what you understood. I shall give you next set of instructions what to be done based on your understanding. I am using Sonnet model. The capacity, power, and the performance would be slightly differ compared to Opus model. Right. It very clearly say that we have built 5 microservices: identity, port number 8000, patient 9000, doctor 10,000, branch 11,000, and audit service 12,000. We have multiple stages, and identity service depends on audit, append only. Branch depends on, I mean to say, the patient and doctor depend on branch. Audit depends on identity. They have also got the dependency as well. Very good. And all services auth via identity services, connection string injected, persistence auto migration, observability sync. These are all the Docker compose. I can see one Docker compose YAML file in the archive folder also, but I don't know why this guy went to the archive folder. Anyway, that is not an issue. Now, based on this understanding, I would need you to design a Docker compose, design the following Docker compose YAML files. Number one, Docker compose with the build, Docker compose without build for production releases. All images when you are building should be tagged with the prefix I omega and latest version. Prepare env file for configuration settings for Docker compose. This file should not go into version control system because this contains some sensitive information. And generate .env.example file for configuration settings template. Create a new bridge network in the system named Nexus HA network. Ensure that all containers that need volumes mounting, ensure that all containers that need volume mounting also has been configured. Do you get all my requirements? Any questions? Even if you follow the same prompt in your practice, that would be really good. You will start getting to understand how things are really working. I have a clear picture of all your requirements. Before I finalize your plan, I have few focused clarifying questions. Where should the Docker compose file and the environment files live? Ideally supposed to be living in the backend folder. So backend root, backend alongside observability. Yes. What naming convention you want to follow these compose files? Docker compose prod.yaml. You're right. What should be the full image name look like for a production no build compose? I omega Nexus identity service latest. Correct. Should the production compose include the full observability stack as well? Prometheus, Loki, Tempo, Grafana, Hotel? Yes. Should persistence auto migrate be true in the build dev compose, false in production compose, or always driven by .env? True in the dot compose, false in dot compose in the production compose, hard coded per file. No, always driven by dot environment variable. Okay. Do we have a AC remote available anywhere? It's very cold over here. Huh? They changed to 18 degree. Twenty-five should be good, right? 24, 25 should be good. Very good. Now see there, it is coming up with a plan. Yes, you can adjust the temperature however you want. Let's read the plan. Our AI model is a very good teacher. So I strongly recommend that whenever plan comes up, don't close your eyes and accept it. Instead, understand what it is doing. This is my experience. If you initially you will read it, afterwards you will just accept it because you are losing the patience. You tasted the blood. What is that? I gave the prompt. Apps are ready. You tasted the blood. Now what are we want? This guy will be ready. Will be all right only all the times. It will be all right. Once it goes production, no, there will have problems. So I would strongly suggest that read, review before you move to the next stage of implementation, next stage of packaging, next stage of releasing, because you are going to be pinpointed when something goes wrong. Oh, A only did it. You cannot give explanation like this. We are going to create 4 files at the backend. Dev compose, prod compose, .env examples. Okay. All 5 microservices use I omega image prefix. So the shared bridge network is named Nexus HA network, and all volumes are fully wired. Backend Docker compose. Okay, very good. Phase 1. Data tier SQL Server 2012 1433 SQL Server var opt-MS SQL for the data volume observability app tier. Phase 2 Docker compose prod.yaml. Phase 3 .env example, and this is the dependency graph, and these are the volumes. What is not changing? Docker compose.yaml file left untouched from archives. I don't once again understand why is he referring archives. We should probably shout at him saying that you should not refer anything beyond what I asked him to do so. Okay, that's fine. So now we will implement it. Start implementation. Very good. It has now completed the work. The .env, we do have a SQL SA password by default is added to the Dev Nexus HA 2026 telemetry. See the administration, Grafana, that is fine. Or we can have the same password everywhere. Right. Please watch the demo here. In the backend folder, I'm trying to build now images. Docker compose build no cache. Don't take anything is cached. Build from the scratch. Now all images have been built successfully. Docker compose pull, because we have some SQL server, other images, Prometheus, Grafana, and so let us pull those images as well. Right. You can see that your services specific dependencies, SQL Server, Prometheus, all have been pulled. One command is going to get up all the backend services up and running. See, Docker compose up D. There we go. If I go back to the Docker desktop to see, all the services are now running. Audit service, Nexus audit. We have Swagger, Redoc, Metrics, Health, Live, ready. Right. What is the port number it is by default using for the audit service? 12,000. Likewise, branch service. It is by default not showing any endpoints available, but the same endpoints only. 11,000. Doctor services 10,000. Identity services 8,000. And patient services 9,000. So let us verify that things are working as per our expectation. HTTP localhost 8,000. Swagger identity admin service is up and running. 9,000. Patient service API is up and running. Doctor service API is up and running. Branch service API. Audit. So 5 microservices, one command, 5 microservices have been brought up. Our SQL Server container is also running, so we can connect it. What is the password we entered for the SQL Server? Nexus audit. Nexus branches, Nexus so doctors, Nexus identity, Nexus patients. That means your microservices that we have built for the backend working as per the expectation. That's the meaning. Are we good? Now there are two options here. The endpoints that these microservices have should be proven that they are working. That's why I have created a dedicated project called the tests, which contains the integration tests. So in the integration test, we can configure that what is the admin password for that. For demo purpose, we'll use our Nexus HA 2026. That is the seed admin password. .NET build. Our integration test present. .NET test. Now this particular test case, what it is doing, it is trying to test all the endpoints, live endpoints. There is no reference between this project and the other projects. Endpoint is available, we are testing. But Ram, you built it. How do I do this? That's what my objective is, to prove that the service is running. Now I need to showcase how to do this kind of integration testing. Now it has become automated. So this is one aspect. Second thing is that we want to design, we want to develop the UI consuming these services. Design is ready. Now we have to develop. Okay. So now we are going to go ahead with the UI development. Individual services we have done the testing, but they're all mocking behind the scenes. It is trying to fake. Now this is a pure integration testing which doesn't have any kind of mocking, faking. Service available, there is an endpoint, I need to connect to that, I need to pass the data, I will get the response. Is it working? Okay. I need to showcase this. How did I write these test cases? First we'll take the design and development, UI. Then we'll come back to this particular aspect. Okay? Right. This is the way you should package your applications, your backend services. Now I'm ready to create a new folder called front end. Under that we create a folder called docs. What are we going to keep? You have the Open API specification for all services. Very good. You have the UI design mockups with you. Very good. Ask AI model first to understand that. Then tell him, we are going to develop the UI using ASP.NET 10.0 Razor, SSR, server side rendering, WASM. Then that guy will ask a lot of questions. Enable the AI model to ask questions. What is the library are we going to use? Telerik. Telerik is a commercial licensed one. Should we still stick to the Telerik? It's okay, we can use that. Or we can use some other component library. So we have to convey all the messages. Once the design, once the development plan is ready, you review them. How it is going to implement it in a multiple phase manner. In one shot, you are not going to get all the 19 screens. Got the point? All right, good. Now is the time for us to create a prompt for this. New prompt should be good. Let us launch here. Can you analyze and understand for the UI development? What do we need? Two things. Spec, the Open API specifications of those services, and the design. So just give the reference to this. Can you analyze and understand docs UI mockups folder? Copy path. Folder which has all UI screen mockups provided by UI UX engineering team for this platform, for the platform which I am building. Okay. There is a folder which gives the design.md. Nexus HA clinical admin design.md. Copy path. The file has the complete UI design related information such as color scheme, layout, spacing, font, and other elements, UI elements, details. You are helping him to understand. You are not asking him to immediately generate the UI. Don't do that. Okay. All screens are ready, which is there in the UI mockups. And then we don't have the login screen or sign up screen. Do we have the login screen? Did we do that in the Google Stitch? This is the one we created? No. This is the one we created? Okay. We don't seem to be having the login screen. So there should be some see, if the UI designer has not given the login screen, on what basis UI developer will be able to come up with the look and feel? Whatever the look and feel, he comes up with that. How come you are expecting that the product owner should accept it? So my strong suggestion is that do not accept incomplete stuff. You should defend. I always do that. Otherwise, you would take the responsibility of getting the blamed. So now I will take one example. See there, this is my platform. This is the UI login screen I created for my platform. What I will do is that I will ask him to get the inspiration from here. Paste it. Healthassist.com. It has good information. What we will do is that can you refer the attached screenshot and design a login screen according to the color scheme that we have right now, that we have in the current project, and for sidebar contents, for sidebar carousel, right side, for right side carousel, you can refer for contents with 4 to 5 slides. It is not going to do the sliding, but at least you get the look. You don't have to use teal color scheme from the screenshot. You don't have to use or refer. So what did I ask him to do that? Can you refer the attached and design a login screen? Now it is coming up with the login screen. This is the extracted content. That is fine, absolutely okay. All right. Now it came up with the let's wait for the UI screen to come up. There we go. Anyway, that is a designer effort to make sure that this works according to the user requirements. We'll accept it. Whatever it is given, we'll accept it. Export zip file. Where is it? It got the code.html. This is the one, right? So I'll call it as login screen nexus HA. No, I have to create a folder. Login screen nexus HA. All right. Now we have got the all screens including login. No, I don't want you to accept the half-baked ones. If it is so, that means you are compromising yourself that I'm okay to compromise the quality as well as the way I deliver it. Good. Can you analyze and understand this mockup folder? Now it has got a login screen also, which has got all UI screen mockups brought by UX engineering team for the platform named Nexus HA, which I'm building currently now. The file designed MD has a complete UI design. Okay. To be able to communicate or to be able to consume backend REST API services required for these UI screens are available. Open API specifications are available at where? Specs, copy path, folder. Let me know what I don't want you to analyze all HTML files from the mockups folder detailed. Instead, get a glimpse of what it is. Let me know what you understood. I shall give you next set of instructions on what to be done based on your understandings. Are we clear in this prompt? So we never jumped into the work directly. Instead, we first told him, this is what I have got. Can you refer this? Then give your instruction. This is what I want to do. Then ask him to come up with a plan. Review the plan. then go and implement it. When you are coming up with the maybe moderate scale to a high scale activities, no, always ask him to come up with a phased implementation. Don't do it in a single shot. Right. It's a new session. Planning mode. Go. There is one more check I would like to add it here for your attention. See here, we designed the Open API specification, asked the developer to come up with the implementation. Developer did it. 5 services are available, right? Those 5 services have their own Open API specification, Swagger documentation. Are they matching with what I have given to them? Possible that they may come up with something like a small drift changes, or they may introduce some additional endpoints, or they might not implement certain things. If the drift is something like this, the specification what I provided to the developer hosted a REST endpoint which has got the Open API specification. Those are matching 99 or 97, 98, 99% accepted. If there is a drift beyond 5%, don't accept it. Ask him to go back and do the work. So people who are going to be leading the team, they should do these kind of exercises. Otherwise, as a developer, how they didn't accept the half-baked one. Likewise, when you are giving me half-baked one, I will not accept it. As a team leader, as an executive. Get the point? So this is called validations. Previously, we have to put lot of human manual efforts to do all the validations. Now, AI can do that for you. Only question is that how efficiently you use those models. Within the time period, you can do a lot more work. Otherwise, token limit, context window limit, all will be reached very shortly. All right, very good. See this. Nexus HA is a high compliance healthcare administration platform. The target user is clinical admin. For example, Asha Menon. Managing patients, doctors, hospital branches through a web dashboard. The platform is not patient or doctor facing. UI screens. We have 19 mockups. The screens fall into this functional group: auth, core navigation, patient, doctor management, branch, system administration, static info, nothing but news announcement or support. Key UX pattern observed, fixed 224 or 240. Anyway, that is from the UX design. Style, corporate, modern with a minimalist influences. Backend REST API, cross-cutting references. The UI assumes BFF exclusively. Browser never calls downstream service directly. The BFF handles cookie-based decision. Actually, I have not built the BFF. Why? Because we have the SSR, no? Server-side rendering, right? ASP.NET, Blazor, server-side. That will replace the BFF. Suppose if you are developing a pure client Spark, single page application like a React or Angular, that time you need to have the BFF. Okay, so BFF can be excluded from the implementation right now. Actually, I have not done that because yesterday I had realized it. See, I don't have the implementation. Now you are coming up with the requirement. How are you going to implement this? How are we going to implement the UI? Let us give the instructions. Based on your understandings of current UI mockups and Open API specifications, I would now need the following to be done. Following activities to be done. Build, develop .NET 10 and ASP.NET Core Blazor based web application. C#, the web application is to be built at front end folder. Right. Like microservices, this also should be having standard files such as readme.md. If required, refer any one of the microservices. So, like microservices development, this front end folder also should be having standard files such as readme. Go and refer it. Then app settings.json, app settings.production.json for configurations settings. Then recommend me the best possible or best open source library for UI component that we can use to design to match up with design requirements from all screens. In a screen, we have been using so many number of components. Somewhere we use Kanban, somewhere we use grid view, table, card view. Do you have any library, open source library, which provides all the capabilities? That's where the point is. Modularize the project front end project code, front end project code, and this shall also be Dockerized. Do you understand all my requirements? Ask me questions in MCQs with 4 to 5 choices, so I can choose my preferences without having to read or write in prose style. Let us add a few more elements. Note A. You should not deviate any UI elements or UI look and feel and experience from the mock-up designs. It should be 100% compatible and fidelity. Number 2, design phased implementation strategy on how to implement, how to build these features step by step. Okay, let us now slightly rectify this. Send it. Now it is going to pump some questions, so let us answer them. Right. Now let us answer all the questions. Which Blazor rendering model should the web application use? Blazor WebAssembly, standalone, full SPA, runs entirely in browser, no persistent server connection after load. Or do you want to have a Blazor server, all rendering a server over a live signal or connection, thin client? That means you should have a persistent connection. As and when something happens, it will render it here back to us. Blazor Auto Hybrid starts as server on first load, then download WASM switches on the client side. No. Blazor WebAssembly hosted WASM ASP.NET Core host serving WASM app acting as a local proxy, or static SSR Blazor enhanced navigation server rendered page with the progressive enhancement. So as you are aware of ASP.NET Blazor, what option seems to be relevant to you? Think over. Do you want to download the entire WASM assembly into the browser, which makes the browser heavy? Number one. Number two, modern browsers only support WebAssembly. Suppose if you have got a 2 to 3 years old browsers, we may not be able to support it. Blazor server, all rendering on the server over a signal or live connections. So the client becomes lightweight, thin. But the problem is that you should have the persistent connection all the times, which is really good for internal applications, intranet applications. When it comes to internet facing applications, this choice may not be right. Blazor Auto starts as a server on first load, then downloads WASM, switches to the client side. No. Blazor WebAssembly hosted, WASM client, ASP.NET Core hosting, serving as a WASM app. I think that seems to be the best choice for me. Okay. The 100% fidelity requirement is the key constraint. The mockups uses no third-party component library. So only Tailwind utility, classes and Google material symbol icons. Are we good? Yes, use pure Tailwind CSS, convert HTML mockups one-to-one Razor components, zero deviation from the mockup, markup, maximum fidelity, more development effort. That is fine. Or you want to make use of something like a library, Mud Blazor. But the problem in this kind of library is that the library may have a component which represents slightly different from what we have got in the design mockup. Whatever design we have got, we want to get the same thing. So we'll stick to the pure Tailwind CSS. This defines how code is organized across your files, folders, projects, how maintainable it will be in the as the app grows. Two projects, Nexus Web Client, Nexus Web Host, or single Blazor project. Let's have two projects. The BFF is a single browser endpoint. Client needs to call API v1 session, vme, or all proxy routes. Do you want to make use of any BFF? We are going to convey the message saying that we don't want to use BFF. So NSWAG, generate type to C# client wrappers for each OpenAPI specification and build time, or Microsoft Kyoto, generate lightweight tree shakeable clients from OpenAPI specifications, refit, handwritten HTTP client services. There is no option given to me here. Alright, now let's stick to the handwritten HTTP client services. There are 90 there are 19 screens, 6 API domains. The phase order affects how quickly working features are available end to end. Foundation first, phase 1, project scaffold, authentication, login, logout screen, shell layout, phase 2, branches, phase 3, patient, phase 4, doctors, audit logs, settings, profile. I think that seems to be good to progress. End it. Now let us copy this. Related to this question, I do not want to use BFF in this release. In the current release, all clients should be connecting to backend services directly. Okay. Now, along with the previous question answer, we added the customized answer also, send it across. It is absolutely okay. How should the JWT access token be stored and managed in the Blazor WASM application? So without the BFF HTTP only cookie session, the WASM app must store the JWT access token issued itself. This is a security critical issue. So you told the BFF should not be there. Now my understanding is that was it expecting me to use my BFF, or is it coming up with its own? Okay. So the without BFF HTTP cookie session, the WASM app so right now we'll use the in-memory access token, but when the user closes the browser window, you will lose everything. The user once again has to log in. How should course be handled when WASM app calls 5 different backend services ports directly? Okay, now there is a drift. So what I would like to do is that cancel this, stop. The reason I said not to use BFF is that we have not built BFF services yet. Where is it? In the backend, BFF services not yet built. So copy path. Okay. In order to build a secured system, we can add BFF capabilities into the ASP.NET Core hosted application itself. Instead of creating a different microservice, are we good to understand my changes? The user is clarifying their architecture decision. They want to not to use the existing. Very good. So that is the lesson. Yes, perfectly understood. Let me restate. Your revised architecture and confirm the alignment. What changes? Separate Nexus BFF service microservice is out of scope for this release. It is unbuilt. Yes, right. Nexus web host, the ASP.NET Core web application that serves the Blazor WASM, will absorb the BFF responsibilities itself. Owns HTTP call. Yes, correct. This is what we wanted. What stays the same? Two project structure, pure tailwind series, net effect. Very good. Should I proceed to the implementation? Now ask him to come up with the open in editor. Don't come up with the implementation immediately, because we want a review. Now it is going to create 6 phases of the implementation. First scaffolding, second login logout screen, patient, doctor, branches, and then user profile setting, news, announcements, and then last the polish. This is the way you grow. I don't know how you manage the projects inside the HA. If you say that is a monolithic approach, it is going to be a monolithic approach. It's a big ball of mud. Then it becomes very difficult to manage, carry forward. Any point in time, it may broken. So you have to put some extra efforts in there. How well you can modularize. Yes. Now we can see our front end docs. Implementation plan for the front end. Framework on .NET 10, Blazor, C Sharp, pure Tailwind CSS, two project solution, handwritten HTTP client embedded in web host, HTTP client secure, same site, strict cookie, non-issue, um, Docker file, foundation first. So solution architecture, how it's going to look like? We're going to be having SLN file, web client, CS proj, and then we can see all the services, and there's a web host, technology stack, Tailwind CSS token mapping, BFF proxy, okay, phased implementation. Now this is very important. So in the first phase, we are going to have the scaffolding, auth shell layout, which basically has got the login screen, branches module, patients module, doctors module, audit logs module, settings profile, all are good. So let us go and start implementation. Phase 0. Phase 1. Attached it. Let's implement phase 1 now. Yeah, yeah, it won't consider the token area. Correct. See, every time when the request sent, no, the entire context is sent across. So right now, who see the context? It's about 95,000 tokens are being sent out of the limit of 160,000 tokens. So right now, every conversation is piling up more number of tokens. Initially, we have some tokens are available. Okay. Now it failed and it asks you to try again. And when you click on try again, it will come. Two more tokens, correct. Some more tokens and whatever the period. No, see, for example, during the generation, it felt that there is a problem. Immediately, limit something exceeded came. That will be added as part of the once again the context window. Okay. Or what you should do is that you should click the restore checkpoint. It will go back. So all the unwanted things will be removed. That will be used. Now you can, as usual, continue with the chat. Anyway, it's a folder only, no? Oh, that's where we do have the open API specification. Say, for example, does front end need anything back end? No, I need only the specs. If you have, that's where the problem you are facing right now. You don't have the specs. Then you have to have at least some Swagger YAML, some Swagger JSON file, something should be there so that we can feed it. Otherwise, you have to go back and explain everything. This is what my service is, this is what my, which is not going to be very easy.